Alright, so somebody asked me for a deck list. I'm just going to do a quick run through this. It's really simple. If you just want the deck list, this is it. It's constantly being changed ever so slightly, probably by like one card. There's new Utopia cards coming out soon, so just expect for that. Definitely have to change some things up shortly after the making of this video, but this is the deck list I'm running now. This is also rotatable. I would not necessarily always run this. I also ran Cashier Fenrir just briefly, but a lot of those cards just irritate me, and it might be strong, but it doesn't really save me in a lot of situations. But if you had that plus this, I guess you could get like Baron de Fleur if you really wanted to. But this is the whole thing. It's not intended to be meta, it's just pretty strong for a Utopia deck right now. And I know I'm going quick, but this is everything. And if you want to see what I rotate out for double hooking, at least I was considering running this, but only actually running that. And I suppose this one would be pretty good for getting Zexal weapon ZWs from the grave back to hand, but I really don't think that's going to save you. This is debatably worth considering. I don't think this is. I mean, it's kind of like a Monster Reborn. If the guy dies, then you can get a Utopia back from the grave, right? So there's a lot of things you could do with it. This is arguably useless. I feel like there's something better than this, but I don't know what that is. I consider this as a potential fix my whole hand, but also possibly not. And then these are just to shrink it down. It's pretty basic. I'm running these guys. This one I would hold off on the second effect, because this will screw you over. If you use its effect to pull this from your deck, then you're out of special summons for the rest of the duel. If this guy for some reason is on the field gets destroyed, at least you get to spit that out. Now you got one level 4 on the field left. But let's do sample 5. So immediately you can XYZ level rank 4, that is. These, you kind of don't want to have both of these. You only really need one. So let's say you special summon both of these. Or rather, you normal summon this, you special summon this. I'd always just go into Utopia Double. Utopia Double will draw this from your deck, shrinking it down. Then you can immediately XYZ into... I would do Utopia Rising, because what this is going to do next is this will allow you to search. You can just return this to the deck. You don't need it in hand. It's not that important. Or actually, what'd be better is just return the other spell. You can use this spell to return the other spell to your deck. That'd be even better. Get your rank up. I would just go into Utopia Force, and then just after this summons that. This normally doubles the attack, but it can't attack directly. That can't attack directly usually kills me. So if you go into this and then you use the Utopia Force, you'll just rank this guy up into Dragonar, and then Dragonar can XYZ summon Utopia Ray, or at least special summon. I'm not sure if it counts as a XYZ summon. This is treated as an XYZ summon. Alright, yeah, so it is. So you summon this guy, then Utopia Force in grave lets you target this. Back to Utopia Force lets you target this, and then it's got an extra material, and then you can use its material to get a ZW weapon. I would almost always recommend this guy because people's monster effects are the problem in most situations. You could also do this if you're going against Labyrinth, I guess, to negate at least one trap, but in most regards this is probably your best bet. And then you'll have 2 monster negates on the field with just him alone, and he'll go up by 1,000 attack points, so he's really going to be at 3,500. And then he can, when at least one attack goes out, he can make the attacking monster's attack hit 0. So if you're getting battled by something astronomical the next turn, then at least he can save you from one battle. And then he can also half the attack of a monster on the field and negate its effect. So don't forget that as well. So you're not just negating effects with him for his own ability, but you're going to half their attack. And then this one's just a monster negate. It triggers weird. They have to actually start the chain, and when their monster effect activates in the chain, it'll prompt you then if you want to activate it. So don't get confused if this isn't activating right away. That's normal. Same thing with Eagle Claw. And really, that's your whole hand, is pretty much just getting this guy out and him. But I suppose since the other reason why you get Utopia Rising is because when you finally pop him to the field, he's on the field. This will trigger your engrave. You can target Utopia Double and this both. Get them on the field as well. I usually turn him into Utopia Rising, into Utopia Lightning, and then I usually turn Utopia Double into Future Slash. This is just can't be destroyed by battle, and it'll get strengthened if all your other monsters are for some reason in the graveyard. If you're doing 𝕃𝕚𝕚𝕟𝕜𝕝, he can actually hit pretty ridiculous attack points if they end up sending most of your extra deck to the graveyard and you somehow get to summon him after all that, which is doubtful. But this is your petty win card. I hate him. I think most people do, but he'll lose every time to at least a kaiju, so knowing how popular that is, they'll still get ruined by a kaiju or Nibiru. This whole deck is basically ruined by Nibiru. I run these guys because if you draw him first, ideally, you can normal summon him and then grab him from deck to hand, so he's a searcher. This guy will just normal summon himself, so it's basically like two special summons, but they are considered normal. So immediately they're just really good together. These guys are just kind of good. There are probably better cards to run with this again, but I'm just focused on what I liked or what I'm familiar with mainly. I looked up at a couple other decks what they were running, and this is what I like the most. If you can start the chain before you even do Utopia Double with this on the field, you'll be way better off because it's ridiculously good drawing power. This immediately is problem because you have no other level 4. So the other issues with the ZWs is you just can't XYZ summon with this. So that's a sample draw again. And again, this is... if you happen to draw Astraltopia, this might work out with your Upstart Goblin. And then you... well, no, it would work out. So if you happen to draw another level 4, that's great. And then you can search for a Sage, but you need at least one other level 4 monster. This has to get you a level 4 monster, or you need to steal one with Monster Reborn from their graveyard or yours. But this could be an issue with the deck too. And then you also have to pick something from your hand to return to deck, which with this hand, you don't want to get rid of this in case you draw a level 4, that's for sure. Because then you can start drawing a lot more, which you definitely need with this deck. I'd say you might have to return this to the deck, or you might have to return a Monster Reborn, which seems insane, but you might have to do it. I would just return an Astral Karibo to deck and get a ZW. I would start with him because you want your rank up, so you can immediately rank up Utopia Double after you use Utopia Double to go into this, so that you can have your Dragonar able to attack directly. You have the one Ash Blossom, which I also don't really care for that card, but there it is. You're just always going to want to return this to the deck, because Utopia Double is not going to get its effect if this is in your hand. I'm only running one. You really don't seem to need more than one in my experience so far. But this is basically a useless hand. You can't really do anything with this. The draws have not been consistent, which is what you need. But when it does work, it works pretty well. But this is not a very strong deck if you're in like rank 3 Platinum, which is where I'm at right now, and it just can't really seem to climb higher than that, which is a shame because I do enjoy it. But like I said, there's more Utopia cards coming out soon, so it might do better soon. You could, I mean, Upstart Goblin's fine, then immediately go into this and return this to deck. If you don't get something good, you can return at least 2 cards to the deck, and then hopefully you'll get another level 4 that you can summon. But if you know, if they have an extra deck monster on the field, you can special summon this, and then you just need 1 level 4 of any kind. Your best starting hand cards is definitely this guy. You don't even really need this. These 3 cards right here are probably your best starting hand cards. If you got this and that starting hand, when you actually special summon this one first and then this one, and then go into the XYZ, when you're actually starting XYZ summoning Utopia Double, what you want to do is you want to trigger his effect first, chain link 1, then you can chain link 2, and if they negate a monster effect to search, they're going to negate this one's, which is just to get a ZW weapon monster to your hand, which it's a shame, but it's not a big deal. You don't want them to negate this, so chain link 1, chain link 2. It's like the Melfi cards. If you have a Melfi Puppy and a Melfi Caddy on the field, I would recommend triggering Melfi Caddy first, Melfi Puppy second, because if they Ash Blossom you, they're only going to hit Puppy, you're going to keep Caddy, and then you're going to search the card you actually want. It's the same thing here. So you want to have them Ash Blossom this card because it's the next rung down on the chain, or the ladder, or whatever you want to call it. And then you'll get your rank up. This one's fine. There's nothing wrong with this rank up. It's not that great though. It's really just a second one. If you happen to have both rank ups in your hand starting, I've pulled off some really cool combos with that, but it's pretty lucky if that actually is achievable. And you see this here, I would just normal summon him, discard this to search a ZW card or a ZS card, get him to hand, and then you're not going to get rank up because you're going to go with the red one, which is for a ZW weapon, but it's the best you can do with this hand. Like I said, it's not a perfect deck by any means, but somebody is apparently curious about it. This is pretty good though. You could do a lot with that. This one, it has potential to fix itself, but you never know. This is immediately good. Search another card, normal summon this to get this to hand. You'll at least have that in hand. But you'll be down a normal summon, so you will be relying on a special summon or this own effect to get their XYZ, but this is pretty good. Like, you can work with it. Just do sample draws. Like, you'll see, you can start building your own kind of expectations based on this. This is actually really good too. You special summon this, normal summon him, get him to hand, do all your combos and such, and you at least get the main point of the deck out first turn with a couple of these hands. Some of them will brick. It's unavoidable. Don't underestimate this card because I definitely think people just ignore the fact that you can target a level 4 monster you control and get one from the graveyard, or returning cards from your XYZ monsters in this deck's case is usually pretty good, especially when you're actually using it to return some of your own Utopia monsters to the extra deck on purpose. If you don't need the level 4 to hand, you can return some of your Utopia cards that are overlay units that, I'll tell you right now, this guy's not going to always need his extra 1 material, and you can make it on purpose a Utopia monster, so that you can just end up, if you happen to have this, just use it to get this back to the extra deck so you're not short on monsters if for some reason the duel starts turning against you. Just work on it. There's a lot you can do with it. There's a lot of paths it can take, but don't expect too much from it. It's really not that special. And that's the whole thing. That's the advice I'd give. It's fine. I'm sure somebody out there is going to say I should use Onomatopoeia. I could. I just don't have the cards, and I'm not really interested in it right now. So there's probably better ways to do this, but this is the one I chose.